Hi everybody, it is Mr. Wind and I'm here to show you how to use Sketchpad.app. The website is right up here where it says Sketchpad.app. So today I am going to show you how to make some basic shapes and how to make those basic shapes look like they are 3D using gradient fill. When we are doing graphic design, we try to do the most that we can with layers and with shapes. We don't do a lot of hand drawing unless it becomes necessary or because we really want it to look hand drawn. And that's what Sketchpad.app is. It's a graphic design tool. So its main focus is on shapes and layers. The cool thing about Sketchpad is that it saves the layers for you. You don't have to keep making new layers. Every time you do something, it makes a layer for you. And so I'm not going to show you a ton on how to do layers because it does it automatically for you. But today's main focus is on how to do use basic shapes to create 3D forms. So the first one I'm going to show you is how to do a cylinder. So a cylinder is like a can or a cup. How it's like a long rectangle with some that like has kind of a circle at the top and kind of rounded at the bottom. So when you think about that, when you think about a cylinder, you're thinking about the fact that it's like kind of like a rectangle with two circles. So let's start here. This right here is our shape tool. Yours might be a star. It might be a triangle. It shows up in different ways, but it is this in here has all your different shapes. If you click here, you can see all the different shapes you have. Nowhere in here is a 3D shape. These are all flat shapes. You will have to create a 3D shape. So I'm going to start with a rectangle. I'm going to make my fill. I'm just going to start with like a kind of a gray shape. It'll make my job a little bit easier if I start with gray. And I'm going to keep no outline. So right now yours probably has an outline. Click here, no outline. We're not going to deal with roundness. We're not going to deal with cutout. Right now we're just focusing on making our fill by clicking on color, making it gray, and no outline. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to make a rectangle right here. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so that you guys can see what I'm doing. Okay, so there's my rectangle. Now, if we look in our shape tool again, which is over here, we have a circle and an ellipse. And if we think of the top of a glass and we're looking at it not from the top but from the side, it's more of an ellipse. So I'm going to choose ellipse. Again, I'm going to keep the fill gray and no outline. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to make this ellipse about the same size as my rectangle here. And I'm just going to make it a little bit wide here. So it's a little bit bigger than my rectangle. So I'm going to try to fix that. So what I'm doing here is I'm using my arrow tools on my computer to move it. And what I'm trying to do is make it so that it's fairly lined up on the left-hand side here with my, so if you look over here, you can barely tell that there's a circle there. So this is our select tool, and that's what I use to select a shape. So I'm selecting just my, that's even better. So if I zoom in, you can see that you can barely tell where my ellipse is on that side. But over here, you can tell where the ellipse is. It's hanging off the side. So what I'm going to do is make it smaller by clicking that little triangle there and bringing it to the edge of the rectangle. It's a little off, so I'm going to select it and move it a little bit. You want it to be fairly perfect. It doesn't need to be perfectly perfect. That's good enough. Um, so right now it kind of looks like there's, but then the top of the can, right? But look at the bottom there. It needs its little circle thing too. All right, so I need to, you can notice that the bottom doesn't have the round part. So I need to make a copy of my round part at the top here to make my bottom look round as well. Um, so I'm gonna right click, I'm gonna copy it, and I'm gonna click off, and I'm gonna hit paste. And now it's made a copy of my circle, right? My ellipse. So I'm going to now bring that ellipse to the bottom so that it looks about right. And voila. Now I have this thing that looks like a can, right? But it looks still fairly flat. It kind of looks a little bit 3D, but not yet. So what I need to do is I'm going to come over here and there's this tool called vector fill. This is what we call a vector. Don't need to know that, but this is the vector fill. I'm going to select that, and in there I'm going to click where it says fill. Now, radial gradients are really good for circles, but we're not doing a circle, we're doing a cylinder. So we need to do what's called a linear fill. You can pick, like this fill would be really good, this fill would be really good. You want to pick a fill that doesn't have a ton of colors in it. This one would be really good. You want to be picking a fill that is mainly just two colors. So for the sake of what we're doing, we're going to pick this gray to black fill. And then I'm going to click in my cylinder here. Now, when we're in here, I can actually take this tool and I can bring it this way, narrower, or I can take the middle and bring it this way. And you can see it starts to look like it's dark on one side and light on the other. So if I click off of that, it now looks like a can that has this, like kind of like a cylinder, but not quite because the bottom and top aren't ready yet. So what I'm going to do now, and this is where it starts to get really easy with these kind of online graphic design tools. If I click on this, if I go get the select tool and I select it and I click the three dots in the middle there where it says options, and then I'm going to copy paint style. So now what that's going to do is when I select a different object and I click those options, I'm going to hit paste paint style. Now it's going to take exactly what this looks like and put it down here. So now it looks like this gradient runs all the way through and it looks very smooth. I'm going to do the same thing up here. I'm going to use the select tool, select the top ellipse, click the three circles, and I'm going to paste my paint style. So now it looks like a can, right? So right now we have this can, but I want it to look like it's 3D. So like, not like it's 3D, sorry, it's like it's hollow inside. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click that vector fill again, and I'm going to click up there. Now I'm going to spin this around. So I'm going to take the dark area and I'm going to put it here. And I'm going to take this dark light area and I'm going to put it over here. And when I click away, now you can see it looks like it's an empty can or an empty vase or an empty cup. So right now, if you haven't made this, watch the video again and follow along with me and make it. If at any moment it feels like I'm going too fast, hit pause and then hit reverse a couple times, a few seconds, a few minutes, and then watch the video again. So I showed you how to make a cylinder. I told you I was going to show you how to make a cylinder, a cone, and a box. So the second thing we have to make is a cone. So just like with the cylinder, we have to think about the things that look like a cone. So we know that a cone is a triangle. So I'm going to go back to my shape tool here, and I'm going to pick a triangle. I'm going to put a triangle on here. And now look, because I had my fill set as this gradient, that gradient's already there. But we're going to fix it because it's not quite right, and I'll show you how. So I'm going to put my triangle here. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger because what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to select this circle here. I'm going, so you can click on it, go to options, copy, click away, and then you're going to right click and paste. And right now my triangle is almost the right size. It is the right size. I did that on accident, you guys. I did not mean my triangle to be almost perfect, and it is. That's crazy. I did not mean my triangle to be perfect. It just happened to be perfect. So in the end, you need to make, if your triangle is too big or too small, you would need to make it the right size. So that it looks correct. It's a little off, but that's okay. This button that I'm clicking over here is the undo button. And I just wanted to get it back to where it was before. So this looks okay. I'm not a big, this technically should be more like this. And that looks a little bit more realistic to me. You want to have a little bit of the black going in just right to almost where the tip is here. And that's going to make it look a little bit more realistic. Because what we're imagining is the light's coming from over here, kind of the top, and it's kind of going to hit this cone. And it's going to, the light's going to reflect to here, but not up to here. And it's the same thing over here. The light's going to hit on this side of the open cone, but not on this side of the open cone. We're just imagining the light coming this way. So I've showed you how to do a cylinder, a cone, and now I'm going to show you how to do a box. Okay, now I'm going to make a box. When we think about a box is squares. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to choose a square. Your fill will be a different color, so make sure that you're making it gray again. And I'm going to make a box. So for some reason, Sketchpad likes to try to make your shape's a little lopsided. I don't know why that is. There are some problems with Sketchpad, but that's okay. So I'm gonna select that box by using our select tool so that it gives me my options, and then I'm gonna copy it. And I'm gonna select away, and then I'm gonna do Control V. Now I'm gonna put this box like here. Oh, why there's so many? Oh, that's annoying. So I'm gonna put this box here, and you're gonna see that it doesn't look like a box. It just looks like two squares. So to make a box, you actually have to do a little bit of hand drawing, which is okay. I'm going to show you how to do that. So to first do this, you need to vector fill and just pick like a lighter gray for that front one. They need to be two different colors. And then you need to come to this third tool down. Yours might say calligraphy, might say line, it might say pencil. But if you go to the third tool down, in here, there is something that says line. We're going to use the line tool. So I'm going to click on that back box's corner, then come to the front box and click on that, and then go to the bottom, click down there, and then click on that bottom box, and then click up, and you're going to see that I've made another kind of a rectangle on this side, because that's the problem with a box. It's not just 6 squares when you're doing it 3D. It's a square and two parallelograms that make it look 3D. So now I'm going to do this for the top. So I'm going to click over here where it says line. I'm going to choose line tool. And now I'm going to go I'm going to click on this back corner. Oh, sorry, I need to finish editing. So I'm going to click on this back corner, click on the front one, go over to this one, go all the way back on that one, and then all the way to the side. So, and then I'm going to finish it. So now I'm going to take my select tool and I'm going to select the box that's in the back and hit delete. So you can see I have kind of a 3D looking box, but the problem is it's not shaded to look 3D. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to use that select tool and I'm going to pick the left one. Now the left one is being hit by a lot of light because the sun's kind of coming from up here and hitting down, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to Styles. I'm going to click in the drop for fill and then click in the drop for outline. Now in the fill, I'm going to go do a linear gradient, but I want that linear gradient to look a little different. So I'm going to I'm going to click. Ah. Um, I'm just making sure that it's not in here. It's not, right? No. Okay. So what you're going to have to do is you're going to click Vector Fill. You're going to go to Linear, and you're going to click in here. So now it's here. That's great. So what you want is you want this. You're going to stretch it out so that it's not even black on the edge there. It's just tiny bit darker on this left corner because the sun's coming like this. So this whole side is actually be quite bright. It's just going to get a little darker as it moves out. So as I kind of drag this gradient out, you can see that it's just tiny bit darker over here. Because the sun's coming from the top is actually going to be even lighter. So I'm going to, whoop, sorry. I'm going to cancel that. So I'm going to select that top one. I'm going to use the vector fill tool and I'm going to fill it in. Oop, sorry. Why didn't that work? Oh, sorry. I need to go into the style tool. I'm going to undo the outline and I'm going to do the fill as that linear gradient. Then I'm going to use this vector fill. And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to stretch it out this way. And I'm going to totally stretch it out this way as well. But I'm also going to make this even lighter. So I clicked on that circle and now I can kind of mess around with the luminosity of it and make it even lighter. I could also choose the colors of it. You can look up here to see what it's going to look like. And so now you can see it's a little bit lighter here and it's going dark again up here. So now I need to do this for the front box. Because I was already in the vector fill tool, when I clicked on that box, that's what happened. Sorry, I should show you what you're supposed to do. You select the box, then you do vector fill, then you select it. Now the front should be super dark, but it shouldn't be so dark that it doesn't, like if I click out, it doesn't look, it needs to kind of match these same colors here. So I'm gonna like bring this in a little bit. So that it starts to kind of match those corners. So if at any moment you're like completely lost by this, and this looks a little weird, I can fix it another time. You can hit pause and go back and watch this video again. But I expect to see on your completed thing all three of these shapes. Thank you for watching. I'll talk to you later.